Alright, James Ballot in here. And there's been a big argument on Facebook, Resident Evil, and lots of butthurt people, and talking about how, Resident Evil 7 should still be a numbered title, and it blah 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 blah. And so I came up with three quick easy questions, and to ask yourself when you're playing a Resident Evil game if it should be a numbered title or not. And also for all the counterterrorism units of the world listening, this is just a satire for a video game, so not actually suggesting actual bioterror stuff. But okay. So there's three things, the only three things you need, and then a bonus fourth, which is some form of original cast members in the main story, some sort of pathogen, the virus or whatever outbreak that happens, complete with an origin story in that game, or at least, at some point in its associated, and then an actual threat of there being a bioterror outbreak because of whatever is going on in the story. So we'll mainly be covering 4, 5, 6, because those are the games that people keep citing as being horrible. Hey, Resident Evil 4 is when it went downhill, or 5 is horrible. It's like, it's sold over 10 million units, so people need to get over it. Anyway, and then obviously Resident Evil 6, which, despite about 65% of the game being horrible, still a quite solid entry into the series. Then the three CG movies, which are canon. So you gotta think about like the original cast. You got Leon there, you got Chris, and then by Resident Evil 6, Leon, Chris, Ada, Sherry Birkin. Ada's arguably the main character in Resident Evil 4 also, although some of that you can kind of consider. I was thinking about is some of that Ada stuff technically DLC? I mean, it wasn't available in every copy of the game, so Ada sort of counts, sort of doesn't count. And all the later iterations of Resident Evil 4, though, she's always available. But maybe if you count the very early copies, where like PS2 got different versions of Ada stuff than GameCube. But anyway, in Degeneration, you got Leon and Claire, and Damnation, Leon and Ada, and Vendetta, Chris, Leon, and Rebecca. So you can see that those all have like original cast members from the prior games as the main characters. You can add in some side characters if you want, some supporting cast, but otherwise, you stay tried and true with your main original cast. So number 2, you need some kind of a pathogen. There's the original progenitor virus, that Spencer, Ashford, and Marcus figured out with the flowers in Africa, and then eventually Birkin and Simmons played with it some more until you have all the TG and C variants, and they're trying to get zombies and lots of different POWs, and got the Ouroboros also out of that. And then there was the Plaga in Spain, obviously, with the leader-follower control properties, and that was important because they wanted to be able to have, control, and obviously got more BOWs out of that also. Yeah, the Abyss virus, because they couldn't really infect fish very much. I think out of all the Resident Evil games, there's maybe like one shark that they got mutated or something. Other than that, everything wasn't until Revelations, and then 5, where there started actually being a significant portion of waterborne POWs, and they said that's because ocean life was relatively safe from the viruses. I'm paraphrasing, but it's kind of obvious too if you play back through the games. You're like, oh, okay. And then I had to go look this up for Revelations 2, but it'd be awesome if I spelled things properly. Hey, fixed. And apparently they wanted the viruses to be spread by fear, and that's why they were working on the T-Phobos virus. And then if you died, it reanimated you as a BOW anyway. Then I tried to look up the mold from Resident Evil 7, but it's just total bunk. It doesn't. It's all over the board. It doesn't make any sense at all. So, if you want to argue about this, you can just go on the subreddit for Resident Evil, and someone did a really good breakdown all the way through 6, I think, as to what all the different viruses were. So, I don't recall it including Revelations 2 or 7, but it might have, I'm not sure. But either way, the T Phobos virus makes sense. It's kind of like another control mechanism, the mold. Just, I don't know, doesn't seem to fit anywhere. Doesn't make any sense. So anyway, the threat level, the virus or pathogen needs to have the ability to actually escape a small quarantine area, whether you want it to or not. Preferably a way to also weaponize, terrorize, or sell in the weapons trade, or use as leverage. If like every country starts getting them, then you'd want them. Or if you're going to hold a country hostage, or a building hostage, or whatnot, or a government hostage. And you're not supposed to use them just to be a jerk to people in a confined environment. They might test in tiny environments, but it needs to actually have some way of getting out. Otherwise, there's no real risk, honestly. I mean, most of the Resident Evil games, are either about Umbrella Corps or BSAA or STARS, or you're trying to shut down bioterror or whatnot. I mean, people in a tiny confined area, that's fine for a spin-off, right? But not really a main. And we get into more of that in a little bit. So, and the bonus number 4, which is a Hunker Ada trying to collect a sample of the virus for the company that was, I think, was that Marcus and Wesker's children or whatever, and then whoever is running it after Wesker. And the real question you have to ask yourself is, if Hunker Ada aren't running around trying to collect it, then who cares? And you go back and think through the Resident Evil titles, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And maybe they just didn't have the funding for to make spin-offs for all of them. But you think about most of the Resident Evil titles, and either Ada or Hunk were trying to run through and get samples, which is very nice of them. It's very dangerous. And so Revelations 1, as we got to talking on the Facebook forum or Facebook post about it, people were like, oh, Revelations 1 actually ends up counting as a numbered title. It's like, yeah, it's weird. It actually does. Because even though they're in a tiny place, and it gets tested on ships full of people, gets tested on an island full of people, it's kind of really misleading because it can actually infect the entire ocean, which is what they were planning on doing. And in 5, Wesker was gonna launch missiles into the atmosphere or something that was gonna infect everybody, and in 4 they were gonna infect all of the United States and mind control the president and stuff. So you can see how those are very large things, whereas like Revelations 2, they were just working on some little tests. And same thing with Veronica, they were just working on some tests and stuff. They were good spin-off, good spin-off material, but not a main title. And so you see there that Resident Evil 7, it's just a teeny, it's not even a town, it's like a house, whatever, I don't understand. It's a spin-off title material if you look at the prior games. Yeah, it didn't include Umbrella Chronicles, Darkside Chronicles, or C and Umbrella Corps because they're a little bit retellings and side stories, and so it'd be good for a different video. So, want to thank everybody for watching, and let me know if I missed anything down below or how wrong I am. And apologize for not covering Outbreak, Dead Aim. I don't really know much about them. Same thing with Gaiden. 1.5 though, I know quite a bit about that, but it was unfinished, unfortunately, so I'm not 100% sure on a lot of stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry, Resident Evil 7 fans, I know you're all toxically defensive of your game, but it doesn't stack up. If you think it does, let me know. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.